Excuse me. Alright, excuse me. Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 195. This is episodes 11 to 14 of Changeman. The first two are standalone episodes, but here's the thing. Starting episode 13, they have this thing where they introduce a bunch of allies to the Changeman. First, let's talk about episode 11. We have the introduction of first ever friendly aliens. The first aliens introduced in the series that are not a threat to the Changeman. Yeah, apparently these two come via meteorite. And of course, the planetary king chastises his men for basically daring to allow these two to come in. And apparently the planet was basically attacked by the monster episode, whose name is Ghost. And it's a quite interesting episode. And the way the episode feels, it feels like a leftover script from Bioman. Because one of the members, I think the male one of these two, is the same voice actor who voices the robot from Bioman. I'm not kidding, it's the same exact freaking robot. Like, it's the same exact voice. I think his name is Pivo. Yeah, apparently they brought back his voice actor. For some reason. I'm not really sure why. That's what it sounds like. For this one character, this male character. Yeah. Kind of surprised. And the whole thing is about connecting. And it's a good character piece for aliens. Surprisingly, the public in the series, when they see these two aliens, they're just not reacting like, oh crap, what is this? Yeah, it's like the reaction's like barely noticeable at most. But it looks like, though, there's something that the way these aliens look, it looks like they're the way they look, it seems like they basically had no money for this episode when it comes to costumes. These things look cheap. It looks like people wearing cloth sheets on the entire cover of their whole body with covers on them. Yes, despite the fact that, yes, the series does look like, from the villain's perspective, that the suits look fantastic. It appears when it comes to these aliens, they ran out of money. So basically, they just took cloth, put it on two shorter people, and just kind of alter it, and it looks like a freaking sheet. Like a bed sheet or whatever. Or at least something like that. It's quite odd, to say the least. 12 is a very interesting one. It's basically about the agent, where if you'll a little more of her backstory, we see actually take appearance of her nursemaid monster who was killed early on. Yeah, we reveal a little bit of her backstory, where she's a princess, where we knew that. The fact she grew up alone, and the reason why she's acting the way she is, where she was to hate then love, that is due to how she was raised. She was took away from her mother and basically raised to hate and love violence and just fight peace. And of course, she wants to turn all these mothers into these weird, hairy creatures that look like a bunch of hairy suits. It is by far it's nightmare-inducing. It's just, wow. All because this one woman had a terrible childhood. Let's just ruin all these kids' childhoods. And here's the strange thing with this episode. There is a set of siblings in this episode who are completely unaffected by this, because the mother apparently died prior to this episode. I'm like, okay. And of course, I believe it was, if I remember correctly, the Mermaid Ranger, one who's one of the ladies. She becomes a mother one day, and despite the fact she kind of used them to basically lure out the one person, she was telling the truth. She did want to become these two kids' mother for a day. She enjoyed it. Yep. It's a pretty good episode, but I think the whole creature thing was so bizarre, to say the least. Now, in the case of episode 13-14, we're introduced to Nana, a genius little girl. She's introduced in these two episodes, and apparently she has not returned to these two episodes into episode 34. Like, it takes 20 episodes for her to come back. But here's the thing. She's the first space ally introduced in the series. And I look it up. Apparently, she's only in 11 episodes. Like 11, seriously. So the whole thing with this one is basically trying to get the creature who makes the monster go giant size, get a lot more energy, because every time he uses energy, he is like falling asleep. And we also have where this one-shot character is in the story, who apparently is this crazy scientist who said he has an unusual way to try to contact aliens. And he apparently betrays Earth for the planetary master. He's like, I'll work for you. In exchange, I get to rule Earth. I guess the planetary is like, okay, fine, you can have Earth. I just want to wreck it. Yep. And they also apparently, get this, he is actually the spitting image of this girl's late father, who they murdered. Yeah, they reveal this in the very next episode. And apparently, in his lab, he recreated this little girl's home planet. Now, if it's been destroyed, they don't really say if it's been destroyed. It's kind of odd, to say the least. Yeah, they do not go into this at all. It's just, her father died. Okay, was her planet destroyed? It's implied it was destroyed. They say it was destroyed, and it wasn't. And they say she was abducted. It's a bit of basically... It's almost like people who wrote these two episodes are written by two completely different people. And apparently she has no problem speaking Japanese, despite the fact she's an alien. Though she is communicating after the whole thing is over with, when she finds that she thinks her father, but not really her father because of how he treats her. And he keeps on a giant lizard, who, by the way, he's a mindless lizard who doesn't understand what the heck he's saying. And this trader proceeds to get stomped on by a giant lizard. And by the way, the guy Boris from the episode, he probably loses his armor, and then he goes giant in the next episode, like, oh, he goes, like, giant as a lizard. Okay. Quite out of an idea, but I do gotta admit the whole energy thing, that was a really interesting idea. But they ran it pretty quickly, and it was probably a device they probably did not use to the point forward. I'm not sure because I haven't watched the rest of the series yet, but yeah. I've got to admit, these are really good episodes. I enjoyed them, though. I still gotta say this again. 11 feels like a leftover Bioman episode. It's almost like maybe because this very next series, that maybe this is supposed to be Peebo coming back. It's my personal theory that maybe it was planned. Now, I have a theory about that. My theory is this. The problem was plans to bring back Peebo for a guest star appearance. Because they tried to do this with Denziman and Son Vulcan, and they tried to bring the cast of Denziman for a guest star appearance for a crossover, but things fell through. I haven't heard anything about in the case of Peebo, but it seems as though this is planned to be a Peebo appearance. But maybe because the suit wasn't available, or maybe the whole thing with the Bio Robo was something, I'm not really sure. Now, the strange thing is, the Peebo robot, he does not appear after Bioman. Not at all. For some reason, he doesn't. Now, one thing I have heard also about this particular series, this was basically back to his quote people love a Super Sentai, is that we had the Monster Week aspect. We didn't have the Bioman. This would make a great story. That was one thing that was missing. The Monster Week stuff. Here, I think the Monsters of the Week, this one, is basically perfectly fine. I like the aspects of this one. The plans are strange, to say the least, but they feel very original, and they don't feel like a rehash, or like every episode to brainwash people, or like kidnap this one scientist to beat this one thing. It's original. Yep. But yeah, that's particular view. Next up is going to be a comic corner, and then time to Boruto. Yes, I'm going to try to get this done tonight. Okay, next video. Bye.